Good morning, Devils fans. We're talking about the other half of the Super Buddies today, as our spotlight is on Nate Bastian. Born December 6, 1997, Kittinger, Ontario. Nate would play midget hockey with the Brantford Junior B-Stars of the GOJHL. At the 2013 OHL Priority Draft, he'd be selected 127th overall by the Mississauga Steelheads, where he'd get into 21 games by the end of that season after finishing up in midgets. He'd play another 3 seasons with the Steelheads, totaling 54 goals, 82 assists, 136 points, and 211 regular season games, and 18 points in 29 playoff games. As we all know, this is where the Super Buddy friendship started over those 3 seasons with Nate and Mikey. At the 2016 NHL Entry Draft, Bastian would be selected in the second round, 41st overall, by the New Jersey Devils, and a few months later would sign his ELC. His first year pro, he'd play 68 games for the Binghamton Devils. The following year, for the 2018-19 season, he'd start in Binghamton playing 43 games before getting recalled to New Jersey for his NHL debut. January 19, 2019, he would go pointless in 9.5 minutes of ice time and would have his first NHL fight, which was against Josh Manson. Both of them would be wearing number 42 at the time. Nate would hit Manson somewhat awkwardly into the boards. Manson got up and challenged. Nate answered. A few punches were thrown from both sides. Overall, it was a fairly meh fight, as they both quickly kind of fell down after those first couple of whiffed punches. Bastian would be sent back to Binghamton for a stretch before returning to the lineup on February 25th for his second NHL game, where he would score his first NHL goal, coming against Carey Price and the Montreal Canadiens in an eventual win. He'd close out the last 5 games of the season with no more points, except for the final one where he would score 2 more goals. He would spend the entirety of the 2019-20 season with the Binghamton Devils before being back in New Jersey for 2020-21 season, the shortened season, where he would score 3 goals, 7 assists for 10 points in 41 games. At the 2021 NHL Expansion Draft, Nate would be selected by the Seattle Kraken, where he'd score 1 goal and 1 assist in 12 games, before being healthy scratched and eventually put on waivers November 25th, and would return home after being claimed by the Devils. He'd finish out that season with 16 points in 60 games, with the Devils scoring a career-high 11 goals, 12 in total for the season, including the one from Seattle. 2022-23, Nate would set career high in assists with 9 and would pot 6 goals in 43 games before making his NHL playoffs debut, scoring 1 goal, 1 assist in 11 games. In total, Bastian would score 23 goals, 21 assists for 44 points in 151 regular season games as a Devil. So on the ice, Bastian is actually quite a bit of a stud defensively. He doesn't give up many chances against when on the ice. He's strong at removing a player from the puck, actually throwing the body around on a per 60 basis as much as anyone in the league. From there, he's quite good at exiting the zone and helping gain entry into the offensive zone. He's certainly not elite in these areas, but as a fourth line guy, he's certainly someone who can abuse matchup disparities. Once in the O-zone, he isn't dazzling you with moves, either setting up other guys or potting beautiful shots. Instead, Nate does his work in the dirty areas. For goals, it's usually rebounds or deflections, playing that net front game, which is his strong suit. And for the amount of ice time that he gets, he actually generates quite a lot when working with very little. Again, we're talking fourth line contribution here, so when talking relatively, Nate is just about all you can hope for on a fourth line winger. Not only has he gotten power play 1 time while in his time in New Jersey, but he actually seemed to spark the unit when it was slumping when he would get that ice time. He's also generally pretty strong on his penalty kill time as well. I don't know the exact numbers. I couldn't find it relatively quickly, but I know with Nate in the lineup, we played a lot better than when he was not. Now, as a fourth line winger, the linchpin of a team, probably not. It's probably just luck and dice rolls and all that for how it worked out, but there's no denying Nate in the lineup, we just played better. Now, off the ice, I went over it last episode. He's super buddies with Mikey. We know that, and they have been for years. He also seems to have formed great friendships with the majority of the young guys in the room, and I'm sure some of the older ones as well. He has these absolutely hysterical social media posts. The 2 that stick out the most to me are the "How many tomato can Nate fit in mouth?" where he has just a bunch of tomato stuff in his mouth, I think from his Mississauga days. Or maybe it was with Binghamton. But then a follow-up one with that was him riding around on one of those little electronic animal bikes that you find in malls. Again, guy just seems to be happy-go-lucky, goofy dude. That also comes out in the Seattle fish tossing video that he did with Marina and Amanda Stein. So going forward, we've got Nate for at least 2 more years, and maybe more if he doesn't price himself out of being able to stay here. He's almost certainly a full-time starter this next season, but there is competition throughout the lineup, and especially at the bottom. I think he absolutely has a niche and role here, but it's not an absolute lock. No fourth liner is basically a lock for a lineup for all 82 games. So we'll see exactly how it plays out for Nate. He is very, very, very unlikely to actually see power play 1 time again. Maybe he gets some power play 2 time, even though I'm not sure he quite gets that, given the depth of our lineup now compared to when he was getting that ice time. We likely will see him on the penalty kill at points, although I think he's more the 3rd pairing guy. We have guys like, Nico, Mercer, McLeod, Halla, possibly a couple other guys that might get in on the depth chart over him, but I think he'll definitely get ice there throughout the season. He's going to be stapled on the 4th line. I don't think he sees anything above that on the year. And he's going to have at least 1, if not 2, new line mates. So we'll see how his synergy forms, if he can actually get to new career highs, especially given if he gets a full 82-game season. He could definitely do it. So we'll just have to see. Really, I think it is going to come down to that synergy with his line mates. Like I said, there's going to be at least 1, if not 2, new guys there with him. So if he earns that ice and he can play all 82, I think we could expect a very big year from Nate. My top 3 from him are going to be the one big quote after returning from Seattle, coming in at number 3. Quote unquote here, "I think about it more than you would probably think. I'm so grateful to be back in New Jersey, to be on a team where you're respected and they use you on a nightly basis." This is in regards to Seattle really just using him in a grinder role and eventually healthy scratching him, not really utilizing his skill set appropriately, which he thinks we do quite well here in New Jersey. While not technically a lifelong Devil, as he was left exposed at the entry draft and was claimed by Seattle, Nate doesn't take any of that stuff personally. He understands it's a business. You just look at the depth chart even at that time, and there was not enough slots for him to be one of those priority guys to be kept. He understood it. He was obviously viewed well enough to be taken by the other team, and then viewed well enough by us to bring him back. So he loves being here in Jersey, and we love having him. Number 2 is going to be a mid-air goal that he scored. I think it was 2019, off of when a puck went deflected off of the end boards, caused the puck to pop out in front of the net through the air, and Nate baseball bats it in against the Hurricanes. Baseball mid-air goals like that are just really fun and memorable, so that's why it made the list here. I don't think it was even very significant on the season at all, but again, baseball bat goals, really fun. And number 1, the thing that just stuck out the most to me about Nate was really his willingness to drop the gloves and fight to stand up for his team and teammates. He's not really actually all that great at them, just actually going back and looking at some old fights that he had. But there was one, I think, from his rookie or sophomore year where it was basically just a full haymaker fight. And guys that are willing to get punched in the face over and over and drop the gloves for the team, there's at least some respect you got to put on him there. Even if you think that shouldn't be in the game anymore, I think it still has its spot. I'm glad it's not as crazy as it used to be, like guys just dropping the gloves after everything. Still annoys me when you get a good clean hit and guys feel like they have to drop it. But when someone takes a liberty on one of your guys, having someone like Nate be able to come in and just be like, hey, I'm going to take you off the ice if you do something like that, even if, again, I don't think Nate's the best fighter. He is someone that you're not too upset taking another person off the ice for 5 minutes and sitting in the box. So he really definitely contributes to the team in that way. And like I said, it's kind of a niche that he fills that a lot of the other guys on the team do not. So that's really going to cover it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed the end of your weekend here on Sunday. I will see everyone tomorrow morning, as always. And let's go Devils.